better than your currency. Splurging millions, buying houses like Monopoly.
Hey guys and girls, welcome to this week's episode of the No-BS Birchy podcast. I'm your host, Birch. It's a show unraveling the truth to the facade of the 21st century. We're now exiting the Matrix and waking up to motherfucking reality. Today I have a returning guest. Wayne's trying not to laugh here, right? But a returning guest, we've got Wayne Murray from our investor relations team. Thank you for coming on the show.
No problem. That's good.
Awesome. Lots of cool things happening out there. Lots of interesting things in the world, and lots of things that are abnormalities that are out there, which are kind of odd in the market. So today we want to talk a bit about a market update and what's happening out there and what do we predict that's going to happen in the future. But I guess we might have some viewers that don't know who's Wayne, right? Who's this bloke that's coming on? So maybe you want to give just a couple of bit of background about yourself, 30 seconds on who you are and what you do.
Sure.
And,
Part of the investor relations team.
Yeah.
Sort of the first point of call.
Yeah.
When it comes to coming on as a client, and we assist the client with their purchases throughout the buying process.
Yeah.
So,
Cool. Awesome. You help lots of people. You've got lots of clients that have got large portfolios that have come to you with no properties, and you're starting to get to 10, 15, 20 properties in a period of a year, 12 months,
definitely.
24 months. So, cool one. So today we're just going to jump straight into it, right? So I've talked a lot recently about my little trip up north. So for those who watching the podcast, you may not have noticed, but I've been travelling to far north Queensland. So I'm based in Sydney, went all the way up to far north Queensland, and I noticed a few things along the way. And firstly, the minute that I left Sydney, there was traffic, right? And that traffic continued all the way until I got to Cairns. There was so many caravans, there's so many people on the road, so many people travelling. I've never seen it beforehand, which to me just indicates there's a shift there with people's mindset, these work from home things and all that sort of stuff. But looking at it, what have you been seeing in the market? Like, what are some of the things that you've identified just recently, like whether it be in Western Australia, Queensland, Sydney, rents, prices? We've got increasing interest rates that everyone's scared of. What's happening out there?
It's definitely demand is high.
Yeah.
We're finding people's serviceability has decreased.
Yeah.
And which brings the people that would service for a higher amount come down to the lower price bracket.
Okay. So someone could service like $1 million. Now they can service for $300,000.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
You got more buyers.
Competition.
Yeah.
So,
and
which pushes the prices up.
Yeah.
Of those lower price points.
So what are some of let's say, without giving away locations to all of you, that's intellectual property here, folks, but let's say, for instance, a property that was selling for like 150, there's markets which we've been in and been pretty active, and now we're finding it difficult to get into. What's happened to some of the pricing around the country?
Oh, it's probably gone up 30-40%.
Yeah, in what?
6 months.
6 months, yeah. So we're in a world where people are fearful that interest rates are going to be, causing a lot of grief. But in turn, what's happened with rents? What have you noticed? Like, one of the things we're going to talk about is rent freeze, but what's happened with rents? What would some of the rents be? Like, you see a client buy a property renting for $250, what happens 6 months later to it? Yeah.
Oh, it's gone up probably $400 to $400. Yeah. I myself have increased it $100
yeah.
on my properties. So
there we go. Yeah. Some people may not like us out there, but it's a part of the system.
You have to, or else you can't progress.
Exactly. And a lot of our investors, like people out there scared and getting hurt, like if you've got a mortgage for $1 million, right? And someone's got $1 million mortgage and they're going out there and buying, if you've got $1 million mortgage, you're getting, $600, $700 a week rent, you're getting $30,000 a year, it's not going to be covering that mortgage. Your negative cash flow, you're screwed. If it goes up $100, well then you just, you're dying at a less rapid rate of interest rate. But if you bought a property for $150,000, $200,000, like a lot of our investors do, and the rent's gone up $50, well then that's like covering a 1% interest rate increase. And if it's going up $100, then that's covering like a 2% increase on their mortgage. So I guess a lot of our investors are doing good on that front. So everyone's feeling the pinch, but
feeling the pinch, right? And I guess we'll talk about it once the rates come down. So
So we're seeing a market where It's been 13, 14 years since we've seen any rate hike. 13 years before we started seeing rate hikes. It's been about 14 years since the rate hikes last occurred before now. And people have in their mind that interest rates are going to go up, so property prices are going to fall down. Mm-hmm. Right? And we don't see that much because our investors are smart and they're like, we see what's going on here. Yeah. But people are out there in the market thinking that the market's going to crash. But we've actually got a very unique situation where the rents are rising and we've got the prices that are rising. And then, imagine what's going to happen when interest rates go down.
Yes.
Servicing
will increase.
Yeah. It means people can go and pull equity out of those properties that they couldn't do. Yeah. There's going to be another influx of liquidity going into the market. Yeah. And I think that's like a precursor there for a hyperinflation in the property sector. But it's interesting times that we're...
But I think the big part, and you talk about it a lot in your podcasts and webinars and so forth, is the inflation.
Yeah.
And I love your analogy about the cordial in the water.
Yeah.
How the cordial is the debt.
Yeah.
And it just dilutes away with the more water that goes into it. So.
Yeah. You just keep pouring that debt in there. Everyone's feeling that they're richer, but they're actually losing in the world. And for me to sit here and be so happy about inflation, it hurts all of us, right? It does. It hurts me, but it's like I know which side of the scale I want to be on, because there's definitely a way to pick up and take all the toys off the table, right? Yeah. And that's where I think those that are knowledgeable or have an understanding of what's to come and what's happening. It's happened throughout history. Every time there's high levels of inflation, there's a shift of wealth from weak hands to strong hands, and it's just being strong all the time. So recently we've heard of talks. Queensland. We just talked about the rent, right? Someone's renting for $250 and then the rent goes up to $400. Like they're jumping up like 50%, 70% in a go. Yeah. But there's talks of rental freezes to stop, and we've had discussions about it. What's your thoughts that's going to be happening due to the rental freezes?
I think it's there to protect the tenant.
Yeah.
But what I guess the government doesn't realise, it's going to hinder development.
Yeah.
With landlords, if they're not getting the extra, $10, $20, $30 a week, they can't improve that property.
Yeah.
They can't, make it more viable for the tenant.
Yeah.
So I think it'll slow down the economy, slow down the growth.
And I think if people are staying in the lease, because for example, Queensland's law is that 12 months you could put the rent up after 3 months or whatever, but you can't put it up for 12 months in a lease. That'll force people to kick their tenants out more and turn over those tenants more. Smart people would do that, but who knows how many smart ones would be there. But anyway, the other aspect of it is when those rent reviews do come up, that the rent's going to go up a considerable amount. But if the people are hanging in there for a longer period of time, we've already got a rental crisis, right? So people are locking in a 12-month lease instead of a 6-month lease. That means that there's less stock in the market.
That's right.
Less stock in the market, especially when you open up the doors. So 400,000 population increase this year and whatnot. That's going to put a more pent-up demand. And when there's less properties on the market, those rents go up even greater at a greater level. So, cool. And what are some of the things that you're seeing out there with your clients at the moment? Is there any specific trends that you're seeing or anything?
I'm finding a lot more modern properties are coming on at a lower price point.
Okay.
So you're picking up newer stock.
Okay.
Probably 5 years old, 10 years old.
Okay.
Whereas 12 months ago we weren't getting that stock.
True.
Yeah.
True.
So.
And some of those properties that we're picking up, like I was out filming one the other day, which we picked up 240 grand. One of your clients bought one, had to retold down to a 3-story property.
Yep.
You might know the one. And we're picking up for 240, but the previous owners had paid 380,000 for it 10 years prior. And looking at the current market, they're worth 300 grand. And to build a 5-10 year old property for 300 grand, you couldn't even do it. We're picking up way below rebuild cost, way below market value. And some people look at that and be like, oh, this property's not good.
It's not growing up.
It's not growing up. Yeah. But property's not linear. And I remember when Sydney market crashed by 30%, going back in 03 to 05, 07. Every second house in Western Sydney had a white paper on their front door saying mortgagee in repossession, and it was a very common thing to see then. It's a very different market to then, but
it's all about opportunity cost too.
Yeah.
Buy low.
Yeah, it's value.
Yeah.
That's interesting that you see that with the deals, because I hadn't seen that, right?
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, I've got some deals, these are mad, right? So anything else you see that I'm doing with the deals?
Oh no, just back on that. I'd be buying them all.
Yeah.
But I can't do it. So.
That's the thing. People go, oh, Birchy, why don't you buy more? They're all so great deals. You buy them all. Well, I do buy heaps of them, right? We just can't buy them all. And it's like, there's so many deals that I look back and I'm like, fuck, like you did great on that to our clients, and they've done great with their deals, and they've all gone up in value and all that. But looking at some of them, I always look back and I think, I remember when someone told me they didn't want to buy that thing and they said it's shit, it'll never go up in value. And you look at it, it's like, wow, it's tripled in value in 2 years or whatever. Cool. I had one of my mates, I was filming those videos that I was sending to the team, and I had one of my mates say to me whilst I was filming, he said that it was interesting, the deals, when I was sending them to him, he goes, all these deals that you bought this year, they've gone up from 150 to 230, 240K. He's like, that's 50% growth in a year.
Yeah.
He goes, no one talks about getting 50% growth in a year, and people wouldn't think that those little shitters would, oh, it's not going to go up in value. It's done nothing for 10 years. It's like, well, today's its day. And yeah.
But remember, those sort of properties help you get to the next property.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's important when you're building a portfolio.
Yeah. It's when you're looking at like what properties do we need, like we always need to assess the client's positions, right? You got clients that they might think they need to have something for cash flow, but it's like, no, we need to educate them and be like, hey, you need equity for your next deal. You need, So they all play a part in that big journey, and a lot of the time people screw it up, they get the wrong thing, wrong time. Yeah. So cool. And one of the things that I wanted to chat about today was migration, right? Because a lot of clients are talking to us about, oh, what do you think about migration and whatnot? What do you think the future of migration is going to look like? And
well, in terms of migration, it's always happening. Apart over the last couple of years, it didn't. So I guess they've opened the doors, opened the floodgates to a few 100,000 people coming in.
Yeah, I saw some stats the other day. In 2001, Costello did a report for the intergenerational immigration report to span out to the year 2050. Yeah. And he said over the 50 years that we've got to hit a certain figure, I forgot it was like 30 million or 35 million people. And he said by 2035 or something would be at 30 million or 26 million people or something. And he based his forecast on 90,000 people of migration per year, right? And here we are looking at migration levels and 400,000 this year, and they're saying 750,000 for an 18-month period. It's like, that's a lot of people. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing, and people will come here being skilled or students or whatever. Yeah. They'll come to the main capital cities, but that's going to push people out of those cities into the regional areas.
Yeah. We're seeing it already, right? Like you said that beforehand, that with the interest rates going up, people can't afford to be, they can't afford $1 million property, they can afford a 300 grand property. So there's a lot of activity there. But people are now on the road, they're literally driving around, they're like, oh, I'm going to move here, it's more sunnier than Melbourne in Queensland, or I want to go to Western Australia, better lifestyle, whatever. And we're seeing those people just travel, and they're just like, hey, I can have a better lifestyle here, I can work from a laptop. The world's changed, and there's that aspect as well. There's a lot of, I think it's DAMA, DAMA, I think from memory. I don't know if maybe you know what it is. The immigration, if you're a school migrant, you go like to specific locations and you become a doctor.
You have to spend a certain amount of time there.
Yeah, 10 years. and they're definitely opening those corridors to make way for that, which is interesting.
But on the other hand, too, we've got people leaving the country.
Yeah.
One of my clients mentioned he's leaving the country.
Really? Okay.
Because it's just too expensive.
There we go. Where are you going to go to? Like?
Yeah, Southeast Asia, I think. So.
I was actually looking at that, right? And I've never been over to Southeast Asia, but I've seen something funny like on Instagram. Like people are talking about their like lifestyles and the food they have and stuff, and I'm like, I'm sort of seeing the things, and I remember things when I see like, oh, that all adds up. And it's like these places are going to become too expensive as well, and people can't afford to live in Southeast Asia. It's going to happen globally.
Yeah,
so
it's going to increase everywhere.
Yeah. But interesting, people leaving. You see anything else like that?
I mentioned to my wife this morning, I said, let's move to a warmer climate.
There we go.
She goes, where do you want to go? I said, I don't know. She goes, Singapore. I said, well, that's probably more expensive than here, I guess. But
you don't have to pay tax over there, do you?
Income tax, I don't think so.
Oh, there we go. There's some benefits over there. Maybe we should all look at where we can travel to and get off the system.
Yeah. I was thinking just domestically, like North Queensland or somewhere, and she goes Singapore.
Yeah. North Queensland, lovely spot, eh? Lovely spot. A lot of people moving there. Value, like we're seeing, like this is a town, right? I'm just going to draw it here on the thing for Wayne, just so he knows where I'm talking about.
Yes.
Right, like these places are like they've doubled, tripled in value. Like no one was there, and now they're just booming. Like last time I went through, like there's a town. I don't know if you've ever seen this one. I've never even bought here. It's I think it's a funny name of a place, right? Have you heard of that place?
No, I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, it's on the way, right? It's on the way up there, and it was packed, right? It was completely packed. I'm like, what the fuck? Normally you see the tumbleweed drive down the street, and you couldn't even park in the whole town, right? You couldn't even park. It's a little tiny town, so there's a lot of people.
Yeah, no, I've lived up in North Queensland 20 odd years ago.
Yeah.
But I'm sure things have changed.
Yeah, well, you might be surprised up there, right? Because I know where you're talking about up there, but it's very good value, good value. So don't leave and go up there, mate. But maybe we're actually setting an office up at that location anyway. Yes. I just got the deal accepted. So
there you go.
Yeah. It's the same size of our office here.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. So, what other things do you see happening around migration and inflation?
I don't pay attention to much news anymore.
Yeah, okay.
And it's funny, I used to be an avid watcher of the 6 p.m. news, but...
Sorry for destroying that for you.
I don't watch any news at all, so I really don't know what's going on.
It becomes like a comic, eh? Like you look at it and it's like, fuck, these people believe that the politicians are going to help them, that people are going to believe that this is truth.
I really don't pay attention to the mainstream media at all. So,
okay.
So I'm not up to speed in terms of what's happening with too much immigration. I know there's thousands of people.
Well, 750, I think it's 750,000 people in an 18-month period. There's 400,000 people in 2023 that are coming to Australia. So there's just new people coming to Australia, right? When you put it in perspective, like Darwin, Hobart, and Townsville, it's double that any of them. So it's almost the size of those three locations that are coming in just this year, right? It's the size of Tweed Heads to Brisbane that is coming in. Everyone that you see stuck on the M1 in the Gold Coast, all of those people just dumped in Australia. Where are they going to go to, right? Where are they going to live?
But also what that does is also gentrification happens in those regional towns.
Yeah.
Because more money's coming into the system.
Exactly.
Old things become new again.
Exactly. Exactly.
New developments happen.
Yeah. Everyone's got to keep up. If you're building a new house, like, it's going to cost you $500,000 to build a house, $350,000 to build a unit. Yeah. It's all those properties are getting sucked up in a vortex with A lot of people will be like, we don't want any more immigration, but it's like, just turn that printer on because that's money, right? If you stack your chips right, that's very good for success. And it's only a couple of ways they can pull those levers. So. Cool. Anything on the property front that you want to share that you think is important for anyone? Yeah.
It's
Except
always
they
that
just don't.
argument that people hesitate to get into the market,
Okay.
and it's always that would have, should have, could have.
Yeah.
Mental approach, mentality, I guess.
Okay.
I always say, if you're on the verge or thinking about crossing over and getting into the market, do it.
Yeah.
Speak to a broker, speak to a lender, and see what your capacity is. Yeah. So.
I was talking to someone that was talking to someone, right? It's sounds like a trivial question thing, right? But it was something that was relayed to me. It was about a hairdresser and the hairdresser's partner, right? And they bought a house in the area with $1 million or whatever, got a mortgage on it for $800,000, whatever. And then the topic came up was, hey, you got a bit of equity and you could spend $200,000 and go buy yourself 4 investment properties, right? They're going to bring in passive income. And it just got relayed back to me. And it's oh no, that's too risky, right? It's too risky. And I guess it's the fear of unknown. Fear of unknown, what you can spend, the fear of unknown, what the market's going to do, the fear of unknown from not having the right strategy.
Mm-hmm.
But it can all seem scary. But the reality is people spend more time focusing on what car they're going to buy or what they're going to do on the weekend, what they're going to spend their $1 million out for a mortgage. You buy $1 million house, you've got to pay for that mortgage,
mm-hmm.
right? You buy 500, 600, $700,000 worth of properties, you've got a half dozen tenants paying those rents. That mortgage, you've outsourced that mortgage. And if you're smart about it, you can actually get those tenants to pay for your mortgage too and your rent or whatever. So
it's interesting because I speak to non-clients every day. People who are interested in sort of property investing, and they come to us because they're not sure where to start. And I always say, it's about having a definitive goal. Writing that goal down. If it's not a goal, it's just a dream. A goal's a dream with a deadline. Basically. So it's about having that plan. If you have a clear plan. And you stick to that plan, you can really grow your wealth.
It's like a business plan.
Exactly.
No business go, we'll hope we sell enough of this. It's like business and know the numbers. They know what they're going to do. They know what they need to do. They need to know if they need to improve something over here, improve something over there. But I guess so many people just float on through and go, we'll see what happens. The years
they don't make the time. They say they're going to do something, but they don't. Because they haven't committed it to their memory to say, I'm going to do that. So.
Or they don't. It's not that important. It just flickers through, and life is the timing is important in life, and life goes fast. And I'm not trying to go deep on everyone here and all that sort of stuff, but it's you need to take control of your life, and if it's not going to be today, when is it going to be? And that's the big thing there. So cool. All right. Well, I guess a couple of little questions. Got some little random funny ones here. What's the most unusual or unexpected property investment story that you've heard, like a success story that you've heard from a client?
There's so many, I guess. I had one client today accept the 10th property in 2 years. And that was a slow progression. But it came in waves of 2 or 3 here, 2 or 3 there. It wasn't one every month sort of thing. It was a block of 2 or 3. Wait 6 months, another block of 2 or 3. And just accept the 10th property today. So.
And that person, I know, I'm assuming it's the same bloke that we're talking about here. Let's say he's 45, right? I'm just making up some numbers here. I don't know how old he is, but I'm assuming about 45. It's taken him 40 years, 45 years to get to that point to make a decision. And I know last time I spoke to him, because I was talking to him maybe 2 months ago whilst I was dropping my car off to get serviced, and I was chatting to him, and he's like, I want to buy more, I want to keep pushing. And I'm like, okay, we'll get you there, right? We're going to get you there. And I think, sometimes it takes, people are like, I want to get there today, but it's like, well, you didn't do anything for the last 40 years, right? 2 years it's taken to get to 10, right? It seems like little numbers when we're just talking about it, right? But it's big, it's massive. No one has 10 properties out there, right? They're outside of what we talk about. But, for that's a big mindset shift and a big growth in that short period of time to be able to get there, which is really amazing. And,
but it's also putting trust in someone else, like yourself and the team, in order to get you to that point. you've got to take that initial step.
Yeah.
If you don't take that step, you don't know.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And when people, like, it might sound like, I see when people write on our comments on our posts and stuff, and they're like, this must be a scam, right? And it's like, this is dodgy. I'm going to report you to Facebook. You can't buy a property for $200,000 in 2023, right? And it's like, because they can't mathematically see it, then it's just a write-off, right? It can't happen. And I think when someone goes to their friends or their family or whatever, and it's like, oh, no, you can't do this, or, you know, they're just talking from their own experience. And when they're coming to the experts, you know, we're able to guide them and teach them and show them and get them there, which is cool. So
you know, I hear stories every day about clients. I love hearing their story, how they got to a certain point.
Yeah. And they're not always like rosy stories. Like sometimes people come to us and they've had, you know, bad things that have happened, or they've, you know,
trauma and lost money,
the scams, stuff like that. So. Sometimes it's just like, oh, I'm an 18-year-old kid and I want to buy 3 houses this year. It's like, all right, let's go, right? They get 3 houses, like you're only 18, right? Go and tell all your mates about it, right? So it's everyone's, I guess, journey, the starting point is different.
It's different.
Cool. Can you share a property investment strategy or tip that goes against conventional wisdom that has worked well for one of your past clients?
I think something that's worked well for a few of our clients has to do with the finance side of things.
Okay.
You know, I was totally unaware that using a broker is going to open up a lot more possibilities.
Yeah.
In terms of lending and strategy.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you've got to work with the banks.
Yeah.
You know, the banks need to.
They've only got one product to sell you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's also about choosing which lender to go with in sequence.
Yeah.
You know, like choosing a second tier lender first.
Yeah.
And then refinance with the
Big Four
bank.
Yeah.
You know, that happens quite a lot in our business.
Yeah.
But you know, I speak to people and they didn't know that either.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just having that knowledge, and knowledge is power, obviously. So.
And I see, like, on the finance that you're saying, like, so many people that come to us and they're like, and they get stuck because their brokers fix their loans, cross their loans, or whatever the case may be. You got one client who can do 20 deals straight away, right? I'm just going to write a little, you know who I'm talking about here, yeah?
Yes.
So that guy, his loans were crossed, and you would just think, oh, the bank's looked after me or whatever. He's been with them for like 20 years, it should be okay, whatever. So this guy's loans were all crossed together and he couldn't pull out equity, and it's taken us 2 years. He's bought like 5 or 7 properties with us, plus his few that he had already. But now that we've uncrossed it, we've been able to do 2 more in Sydney, and then I'm expecting to do another 5 or 6 straight away for him, and he wants to do 20 this year, right? Yeah. But if the bank has done the wrong thing, you know, they're just thinking they're doing the right thing because that's what they're looking at 2-dimensional, but we're looking at, okay, that ain't going to get you to your goal. Your action needs to change. Something needs to change here. So,
but also clients who prefer to use their own broker, which is fine.
Yeah.
But they need to understand: does that broker understand what you want to achieve?
Yeah.
And can they present a strategy
to get you there,
to get them multiple properties? Yeah.
So if you want 10 properties, your question to your broker should be, is how many clients do you have with 10 properties? How many clients have you helped from getting from my position to getting to 10 properties? What would be the roadmap there? How would you expect it to be? What's the time frame? What are the hurdles? What are the challenges that are going to come my way? And hear what they have to say. If you don't feel comfortable with that, well, they don't know how to get you there. If they don't have any clients, you're going to be the first one. It ain't going to happen that easy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And be proactive too in asking the questions. Like after you settle, ask your broker, how long do I need before I can get a reval on that property and pull equity and go again? That's what you...
Wait until the emails, because after a property settles, my team will send you an email that says, congratulations, I'm CC'd on it. And I'm like, hey, hang on a second. I'll just intercept it. I'll say, congratulations. But I'll be like, hang on a second, that person's got equity. And then I'll just send it back to Zinger and to Wayne and the team and say, hey, this guy here, I think he's got 30K, or this chick's got 50K, whatever. Let's go again. And the broker would be like, no, you've only just bought it. You can't. Yeah. So you need to be proactive and asking, like, what can we do? What can we do? What can we get there? It's like,
well,
yeah.
One of my colleagues, 2 hours after he settled, he went to the broker and he got an extra 60K out of it.
You didn't even put that into it?
No, I didn't. Didn't put it in.
Didn't even put 60K. I think he pulled 40K out to put into that deal from the property he bought previously.
Yeah. So
it's like,
anyone
to think he's a Russian trying to find the babushka doll, the fucking one inside another, inside another, inside another.
Yeah.
So, how was that? Wayne, if people want to reach out to you, how do they make contact with the office and to yourself?
Definitely. Just basically, there should be a link below this video.
Okay.
Click on that link and look for my ugly face, pretty face, whatever you want to.
All the ladies love the silver fox out of here. I was in a meeting before our podcast, Wayne, and it was a management meeting, and ladies, I said, I'm going to a podcast with Wayne, I need to film, right? And they go, I just want to let you know that Wayne looked very handsome in his suit in the videos, right? He wore a suit that was like made you just like really pop, and I was like, oh, you checking Wayne out? They go, no, he just looked very handsome. So yeah, you've had lots of feedback about you being handsome in your videos, mate.
Also, the marketing department's all female.
Well, it's the marketing department. They're all other people. They're lawyers. They're all other people. They're all So they said that you're handsome. So, reach out to us. The email is admin@B.Invested.com.au. It'll put in there. I want to speak to Wayne. I like the handsome guy in the suit. Yeah, it's call the office 1300 367 925. Click on the link below to get straight into Wayne's calendar and book a meeting to have a chat with him. Thanks a lot for watching, listening, wherever you're viewing this from. Don't forget you can listen to us every week on Apple Play, Google Play, Spotify, and YouTube. We'll catch up soon. Have a great day. Bye for now. Thanks, Wayne.
Thanks, mate.
Like Bilal said, man, we're stuck in the matrix. This my advice, don't care if you take it. The dollar back to die, soon to be hyperinflated. This my 2 cents, don't care if you save it. Join be decentralized and you will see you been lied to the whole time, and it's the irony, cause they do the exact opposite. You become a slave to the system, enough your money, all they do is profit. There's no conspiracy theory, you better hear me. Crypto will set you free before the system does. I don't care if you do or you don't, but what I'm saying is the truth to the reason you choke. I've never been a failure, excuse my behavior. Keep talking, haters doing me a favor. They all tell lies, I know what they been telling you. I'm the opposite, the Donald Trump of Australia. It's amazing, here for the taking. My time is never wasted, just getting wasted.